Welcome back to the True Crime Lounge podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and now Pandora and Sirius XM. Today I do have a Patreon that you can go join for early access to episodes scheduled to come out. I also have a merch shop for all your true crime gear. For any updates on my channel or podcast, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. With that being said, why don't we dive into today's episode? After all, that's the reason you clicked on this episode. Today we're going to be talking about a case I wanted to do in my I Survived Me series, but ultimately went with another case. S- However, I am doing a TCL special on the case of Jayme Closs. I've been watching clips of the Vampire Diaries. I know. That's why I keep wanting to say Klaus. But for those of you who don't know, on October 15, 2018, Jayme's parents were fatally shot in her Barron, Wisconsin home before her killer would bound her with duct tape, place her in his trunk at the vehicle, and drive off. She was held in captivity for nearly 3 months in a remote cabin about 70 miles north. Keep in mind, Jayme was 13. Her abductor, Jake Thomas Patterson, was 21. Yeah, I know. Sick. On January 10, 2019, her captor told her that he was leaving the cabin for 5 to 6 hours. Jayme escaped and summoned with the help of a woman who was walking her dog, and the woman took her to her neighbor's house, called the cops, and said that I think I have Jayme Closs. Soon after her rescue, Patterson was arrested and received 2 consecutive life sentences with no chance of parole in May 2019. So how did this come about? Like, why did he do it? Why? Just so many questions. Well, here's what I do know. On October 15, 2018, 21-year-old Jake Thomas Patterson would abduct 13-year-old Jayme Lynn Closs from her family's home in Barron, Wisconsin. The attack took place at 12:53 after he forced his way inside and fatally shot the parents. Patterson would take Closs to a house 70 miles away in rural Gordon, Wisconsin, and hold her captive for 88 days until she escaped January 10, 2019. She's her own hero. She is. The police took Patterson into custody shortly after he told them he kidnapped Closs and murdered her parents. He pled guilty on 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. After her recovery, Jayme now lives with her aunt and uncle. Let's go into details about the kidnapping. So, what led this guy to kidnap Jayme? Like, what was he obsessed with her about? Well, Jayme was the only child of James and Denise Closs of Barron, Wisconsin. On October of 2018, Jake Patterson drove to the house to kidnap Jayme. After activity in the home deterred him, he was afraid he would leave witnesses. He made a second attempt 2 days later. On October 15th, he made a third visit. This time, he was armed with a shotgun. Shortly before 12:53 a.m., Patterson parked his car at the end of the driveway wearing a black coat and a ski mask. He approached the front door of the home carrying a shotgun. James, her father, who was 56, shone a light at him through a glass window in the door, and he basically yelled at Patterson, calling and showed him the badge. Patterson would then call out saying, "Open the effing door." I'm not gonna cuss. I'm not, because I know there's probably some children listening to this right now. Probably not wise, but I don't judge. I mean, anyway, and then he will fatally shoot Klaus. Forcing his way into the house, Patterson checked every room in the house because he wanted to make sure there was no witnesses left behind. He found the bathroom door locked and began shooting it down. Inside the door was Denise, who was 46, and Jayme. Denise was comforting her daughter, who was crying loudly. At 12:53, Denise made a call to 911. When Denise Closs did not speak, the operator heard a disturbance before the phone call disconnected. When the dispatcher did not speak, the operator heard a disturbance and yelling before the phone call. She called the number back. It went to the voicemail. Patterson would bound Jayme's wrists and ankles using duct tape and then fatally shooting Denise as well. He would drag Jayme outside, almost slipping in the blood, place her in the trunk of his car, and drive away. The police would arrive 4 minutes after the 911 call. Patterson told investigators that he pulled over for 20 seconds down the road from the house. Deputies would speed by with emergency lights and sirens. Neighbors and they heard two gunshots but dismissed them due to because it was common around their homes. After arriving at his cabin, Patterson made Claus change into a different pair of pajamas, forced her under the mattress, and sealed her off before going to sleep. Less than 2 weeks after Jayme's abduction, a man burglarized the Claus family home, stealing some of Jayme's clothing. He was arrested, but he was not considered a suspect in the abduction of a double murder. So, how did Jayme make this unbelievable escape? Well, Patterson believed that Claus was too afraid of him to make any escapes. He never put any special locks on the door because she wouldn't escape. They also slept in the same bed, and Patterson rarely let her out of the cabin, only for brief walks on the lawn checking for bystanders. On the afternoon of January 10, 2019, Patterson told Claus that he would be leaving for a couple of hours, but put her under a bed before boxing her inside with his belongings for his usual routine. As he departed, Jayme pushed out the objects around the bed. She ran out from the house wearing a light shirt, leggings, and a pair of his sneakers. She ran into a local woman, Janine Nutter, while she was walking her dog. Nutter recognized Klaus from the news report and immediately took her to a neighbor's house. The police called Klaus, told them Jake Patterson had killed her parents, taken her, and kept her as prisoner for a few hours away from her current location of the house. The neighbors described Klaus as calm, quiet, and dazed and surprised at the recognition and news coverage. The police around 4:45 had removed Jayme from the area safely. The description that she provided for Patterson in his vehicles enabled deputies to spot his car a few minutes afterwards. Patterson by When Patterson drove by the house, a deputy stopped him and he exited the vehicle and he said, "I did it." This guy knew he had been caught. A hospital admitted Jayme under guard, and the next morning they released her to custody of her aunt Jennifer Smith. Armel, the parent company of Genio store where Claus' parents worked, announced January 24th they would grant $25,000 reward to Claus for rescuing her. Patterson, now who was her perpetrator? Like, what led him? Like, we need to get some background on this guy, right? Well, Patterson's parents would divorce in 2017. He would graduate from Northwood High School in nearby Minong, Wisconsin in 2015. Enlisted as a U.S. Marine Corps, but was discharged after 1 month um, in San Diego. Police did not believe Patterson had any social media contact with Claus and her family. Relatives did not recognize his name. Patterson told authorities that Claus getting off the school, he saw get off the school bus of the family residence in September while driving home from work, and then that he knew that she was the girl he wanted to take. Patterson's grandfather stated something went terribly wrong. Nobody had any clues, and we were all heartbroken. It was wrenching to deal with. He was shy and quiet, and he backed off from the crowds. But a nice boy, polite. Computer games with a priority to social interaction. There was some legal trouble with Klaus. Confessed to the police that he had kidnapped Jayme, killed her parents, and he had no previous criminal history in Wisconsin. He was also charged with 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and one count of kidnapping, and 1 count of armed burglary in January 4th, 2019, with bail set at $5 million. On March 27th, he pled guilty to 2 counts of intentional homicide. The judge agreed to dismiss the armed burglary count. On May 24th, Patterson was sentenced to a maximum of 2 consecutive life sentences, without the possibility of parole, for the murders, plus an additional 40 years for the kidnapping. The Douglas County authorities did not pursue any charges against Patterson related to her to Closs' 88 days in captivity because they did not want to bring Closs in for questioning, and they believed there was sufficient evidence to pursue the life sentence without parole, without needing charges. While in jail, Patterson wrote a letter in response to questions sent by him to a reporter. He apologized for his crimes, stating that they were committed mostly on impulse, contrasting to the reports that he had taken for various crimes. He also added that his intention from the beginning was to plead guilty in order to spare Jayme and her family the trauma going to trial. Such a gentleman, right? Later on that month, a television reporter in Minneapolis received a phone call from Patterson, in which he briefly answered questions on TV regarding her. Regarding the time he closeted in cavity, he said, "We were like watching TV, playing board games, and talking and stuff. We cooked a lot, and everything was homemade. At Patterson's arrangement, his father had told the reporters that a note apology to Jayme. On June 20th, Jake Patterson was illegally registered as a sex offender, and he was transferred to the Dodge Correctional Institution on an out-of-state prison in New Mexico. In 2019, while he was in New Mexico prison, he got into a fight with another inmate. Now, if you're still listening, I have put together a timeline. If you've just skipped through the whole process, um, which I won't go into too much, but because this case we all know. But on October 15, 2018, an Amber Alert had been issued. October 19th, the details have been released to the phone call. On October 20th, 2018, authorities said that they have received more than 1,000 tips. On October 23rd, 2,000 victims volunteered and combed throughout several miles of the Barron, hoping they would find clues. On October 24th, 2018, the FBI would announce a $25,000 reward. On October 26th, the reward for bringing Jayme home grew to $50,000. On October 27, 2018, the funerals were held for James and Denise at St. Peter's Catholic Church. November 1st, 2018, authorities said that they were scaling back the operations due to declining number of tips. On November 17, 2018, more than 4,000 were granted deer licenses. December 15th, loved ones of Jayme gathered around in the Tree of Hope. On January 10th, January escaped from her captor in Gordon, Wisconsin. On January 11th, authorities identified 21-year-old Jake Patterson Gordon as the suspect for her abduction and killing of her parents. So, where is Jayme today? Well, Jayme has become an advocate for other missing women and exploited children. Her story is widely reported on, and it has raised awareness on the issue of child abduction and the need for greater support for the victims and their family. Alright, that is it for today's episode. I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day, and I y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all next time.